It's not necessarily Black Americans, it's just Americans in general. They don't have a very clear picture of what Africa is like. The only reliance they have is like Lion King and Inception and freaking Black Panther, which is the worst movie ever to portray anything African, because they have this Wakandanized version of Africa.
Kenyan Hippie.
Hello everyone, ohoro wanyu, como esta, habari zenu, guten tag, and all the other greetings. It is moi, back with a new video. If you are a returning subscriber, I want to say thank you so much. If it is your first time clicking on my video, I hope you will stick around and enjoy or learn something. I like to provoke people's thoughts, so hopefully that does that for you. And if it does, don't forget to leave me a like. I found this video about some expatriates living in Ghana. I figured I would just blind respond to some of what they said. So we're going to be watching these together and responding accordingly. Now, of course, these are people who moved from America to Africa. This one specifically live in Ghana, and their video says Africans don't like blacks. Blacks. Hate that term. And then in brackets, why do Africans hate Black American? And then being black in Ghana. Off the bat from the title, I can already guess how this is gonna go. Their blackness is their central identity. Therefore, every experience they have in life, whether positive or negative, shall be attributed by them to their skin tone. So let's dive right in.
In this episode, we're talking about why Africans hate Black Americans.
Ooh, yikes, you gonna go there, huh? All right, well, let's get this video started.
A backstory here, in case you're new here, I am a Black American born and raised in the States.
I am biracial. My mom is Irish and French Canadian, and my dad is West African, Nigerian, and Ghanaian, which is why I have the name Io. He immigrated to the States and lived there for about 25 years, where I was born, and then returned to Ghana about 20 years ago.
In 2020, we sold everything and moved to Ghana. In my trips to Ghana, I realized I would rather be Black in Ghana than Black in America.
I did a similar-ish video, check it out here, of the fact that there's such a huge migration of chocolate Americans, because I don't like calling people black and white, but dark-skinned Americans, especially the liberal ones, actually it's only them, mostly, it's mostly them, it's just them, because they're the only people here who feel like they are oppressed by their skin tone. So according to him, it's better to be black in Ghana than to be black in America. See what I mean? That victimhood mentality, you can take it with you wherever you go. It'll just follow you everywhere. Being black in America is being black in Ghana.
That was just so crazy. I have a completely different relationship with like blackness in America because, well, I have no slave ancestry anywhere. And if I do, it's from my Irish side. Interesting. So for me, it's just straight up racism.
Coming to Ghana has been great. It's the first time in my life that I'm not Black. I'm just a man. I'm not a Black man.
I agree there. Again, we come back to the whole Africans don't believe in the racial construct of black and white. That was a huge culture shock for me to realize that how obsessed certain people are in America about black and white and black and white and black. And I'm like, stop it! I'm not a color. I'm not black. I am dark-skinned. I am chocolate. I'm chocolate mousse, like I like to say, because my identity is not rooted in the color of my skin. In Africa, again, I'm outside of the Pan-Africans and the Afrocentrics who like to weaponize their skin tone. No one else cares what color they are. They're just people. They're just Africans. So I'm glad he realizes and acknowledges that.
Because every man here is just about Black men, so I'm just a man.
That is just the craziest thought to me, that you walk around every day
your blackness is
Yeah.
it's like you're black, and here it's like everybody's black. So
Yeah, well, so here in America, I was black. I was an African who was labeled black, not knowing that I was being labeled black, thinking I was an African. And here, I'm an African labeled as an Obroni or a white person or an American in a place where I'm actually... Yeah, and it's nuts because people will choose not to visit Africa because of this whole hate narrative. So, why do Africans hate Black Americans?
Don't say hate. This is not about hate.
And yet you put hate in the title.
Reason number one. Africans don't like blacks. Americans come to Africa wanting it to be like America.
Africans don't like blacks. What does that even... Here is my problem with that statement. One, he's essentially seeing all Africans as a monolith. Of course, there are those who don't like Americans, period. Same thing, same way there are Americans who don't like Africans. It's just a thing. But that's, I realize, a much smaller group. It's just they happen to be the loudest ones, so they seem like the majority, but that's not correct. And seeing people as a monolith is very problematic for me, because then you're bundling everyone up in one group when there are specific groups, which are the prideful groups that are causing all this drama.
People are always comparing the two. It's like, oh, they'll say, this is not the way it is in the States, or that's not how you should do it, or that's not how it's done. And African people are like, yo, we've been doing this stuff for a long time.
Right.
We know how to get things done.
I agree with that aspect. A lot of people in America, especially the dark-skinned Americans, they expect a certain... I don't know. I don't think they have very realistic expectations when they are either visiting or immigrating to an African country. You have to remember, most of these countries run on socialist setups. What do I mean by that? There's a lot of government bureaucracy. There's a lot of government control and regulations, which leads to a lot of corruption. Infrastructure is not as good as it is here. Emergency services are basically non-existent. The language is different. The culture is different. You have to be very, very realistic. And if you don't have that, you're going to have nothing but disappointment. But it looks like they asked around, and these are the answers they got, and I'm agreeing with at least this first one.
Americans coming here, taking up jobs and starting up businesses without them, and in general.
Yeah, there could be some resentment about foreigners coming to Africa for jobs, and sometimes Africans are like, hey, we've been here all this time, we don't have jobs, but you foreigners are coming over here and you're getting the jobs and I'm getting left.
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that. That whole they're taking our jobs mentality has been a problem for me, even in the States. Because I can understand, I mean, with the new H-1B visa increment, if you're gonna call it that, and regulation, I get that aspect, but no one is taking your job. Your job was given to them. So the problem is not with the person who has the job, it's with whoever is giving out the jobs, if you will, right? So instead of being angry with an immigrant who comes and does better than you, maybe you ask yourself, are you qualified to do it? Because why would they go all the way to Kenya to get someone to come here to work if you want to do the work? I have noticed a lot of the American culture, especially these younger people, the Gen Z, oh my God, they're the worst. They have the worst work ethic. Technically, it's a non-existent work ethic. And they're the first ones to complain, oh, there are no jobs. There are jobs, you don't want to do them. That's just as simple as it is. And if someone else wants to come and do your job, then they're going to do your job. And don't say they stole a job that you did not want to do in the first place. Foreigners have an advantage when it comes to, again, moving to Kenya, because for some reason, there is a bias there. Even Kenyans who are moving back to Kenya from abroad, they'll get offered jobs that they never would have been offered had they not left the country initially and come back. I don't know what it is. There's a bias there. There's a bias of, oh, someone coming from outside knows better than someone who's not left the country. It does need to be tackled. I can see why that would cause resentment, but this only comes from a place of victimhood and wanting to hate people for a reason. Because I have never once thought, sitting in a Kenyan office when I used to do PR and thinking, oh, someone's going to come take my job. Oh, because I'm qualified for the job and I have the job. You know, I don't know.
Ha! The television here is dated and slanted, and well, it is the only window a lot of Africans have to America and blacks out there globally.
Yeah, I am so tired of Judge Judy from 2009. Yo, we do not look good, y'all.
Kinda. I agree and disagree with this one. So most African countries, their main international media channel, at least as far as America goes, is CNN. And you guys know what CNN looks like, okay? They get a very biased viewpoint of what America is like, especially the political aspect. Outside of that, there is a certain picture that's painted about America, and especially dark-skinned Americans. And I'm going to say this, and you can throw those stones if you want to throw the stones, but I was proven correct. Having lived in Kenya until 12 years ago when I moved here, I was very disappointed to learn that what I saw on TV and what I had heard is actually true. It's been very disappointing for me. So this whole thing where they're like, Black America is painted like this, it's painted negatively, therefore it affects how people see a Black American. So, but it's true. It's true. I saw a lot of ratchet culture on TV. I saw a lot of people sagging their pants. They do that. They sag their trousers to this day. A lot of yelling and screaming. They yell and they scream. The ratchetness and the ghetto culture is very true. Now, this is not to say there aren't classy, articulate, dark-skinned Americans who are successful. Obviously, there are. Now, those are not really shown on TV, at least not reality TV. What bleeds is what leads. They're going to want to show the negative stuff because it just has more, it has more engagement. But it's the same thing with some African TV shows. They only show the drama of the country. They don't show the positivity because they get better views and engagement when they show the negative aspects. So same thing applies. But for those who glorify the ghetto culture and the bigotry of low expectations and the ebonics and all the negativity you can think of from the quote-unquote black culture, the one that's causing the black fatigue videos here, that's what you see on TV, and that is what I have experienced personally. So I'm kind of agreeing and disagreeing on this point.
You think Africans are all bush people?
Oh my God! Have you ever heard "Go Back to the Bush"? Okay, maybe that's just me because I'm actually an African, but like, go back to the bush. What do you think Africa looks like? Like, you think, if you were to think about what African person was told about Black American, what would that image be?
Yeah.
I've heard and I've seen, it's not necessarily Black Americans, it's just Americans in general. They don't have a very clear picture of what Africa is like. The only reliance they have is like Lion King and Inception and freaking Black Panther, which is the worst movie ever to portray anything African. Wakanda forever! Because they have this Wakandanized version of Africa. You guys, do you have a pet lion? Oh my gosh, you speak English. Yeah, actually speak it better than you, sir. I've had those comments personally. I try not to take them to heart, but sometimes I'm like, really? You don't think we're taught English in school? Oh, how do you speak English so well? Why do you speak English so badly? How about that? So there is a very skewed viewpoint of Africa. However, this is the caveat in my condition. Why are you not doing your own research? In this day and age of TikTok and YouTube, you have so many YouTube channels, so many creators showing you what Africa is like, the rural area, the metropolitan areas, the languages, the tribes, the cultures. You choose not to know. Then when you meet an African who speaks well and is educated, you act surprised. Because you think we all come from the bush, and how do you guys have Wi-Fi? I have one of my mutuals. We've been friends for a while. I met her on TikTok. You may know her, Charity. And she built a whole niche around responding to stupid ideations and assumptions about Africa in a very sarcastic way.
No, sweetie, we don't have internet in Africa. But anytime we need internet, we come to the evil forest and find the internet tree. Now, what we do is we pluck a leaf from this internet tree. As you can see, there's barely any leaves here. But no matter the size of the leaf, it works. So what you do is you take the leaf, say some African incantations, which I won't tell you because I wouldn't want to upset the gods, and then you blow into your phone. And then after blowing, you just dust it on your phone, and then you check. Of course, there is internet, and that's how we get internet in Africa. It's very simple. Sometimes it may be hard to find leaves, but you have to just trust the gods. The smaller the size, the less the internet will last. So, yeah.
That's the essence of her channel. And this is based on that. It's that biased idea of what Africa is like. Now, as far as the go back to the bush comment, let me tell you the shock I had to get that kind of a reaction or response from a dark-skinned American. And I first got that kind of a comment when I started on TikTok back in 2020 when I was growing my first huge account. And I must have said something that rubbed them the wrong way. So they were saying it as an insult. They were saying it to be xenophobic. And I was shocked because I was like, aren't you supposed to be my friend because you guys like Africa and you wish you could go back to the homeland? Why are you telling me to go back to my country or go back to your hut? They tell you that when they get triggered by something you said. Unbeknownst to them, they're being xenophobic because they're not smart enough to even know what xenophobia means or that they're insulting you. So that's always been a bone of contention for me is on one hand, you think I come from a bush. I don't. You also hate that you lost your African identity. You wish you could learn your African identity and your roots, but you also insult actual Africans. Make it make sense. It's been a very interesting journey for me. I will do a part 2 later. This is just what I wanted to cover for now. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And I'll see you in the next one. Kenyan Hippie out.